Well, welcome. This is Dr. Rahul Desai, and we're going to be doing something fun today. Been honored to have Shaun Rahimi, founder and CEO of Enso Relief Pain Products, joining us today. And the reason, so welcome, Shaun. Hi.
Thank you, Dr. Desai. I appreciate you having me.
So we're in Portland, Oregon, as you know, and you are in California.
That's correct.
Yeah, we're in California.
We're in San Francisco.
In San Francisco, okay.
Yeah.
And are you guys are still on with the coronavirus? Are you pretty locked down, able to get out?
Still shuttered. I was a little sick last month, and then family was sick, but we had very mild symptoms. We're lucky, and so that allows me to, since I'm past that myself, and I can just focus on work. That's been a really good thing, just to be able to focus on the mission, helping people that have chronic pain.
Excellent. Yeah, so we're kind of on the same mission, working at different points in it. Yeah, and so I wanted to introduce, and we can go and show the product as well, and we go to the website. And if you have any examples of it, that'd be great to show. Sure. I think I might have. I've been using the unit. I've been doing pretty well now. It's helped me get through. So it's actually home charging. So I want to give you my story and our patients as well. With the COVID crisis, I've been sitting a lot more, so I'm pretty active, seeing patients, doing lots of procedures, and I've had to be a lot more, spend a lot more time in front of the computer sitting. And I have a bad L4-5 disc and also L1-2, and I've had chronic pain with this, and have gone through various and sundry treatments. Hurt my back when I was 25. When you're young and stupid, a weightlifting injury, and I used to row in college, and so this has been, it was always been a little bit of a challenge. And then as you get older, things start to get flared up, and I had a pretty bad flare a few years ago, and that was the first time again that re-injured where I first injured it. That type of pain, it put me down. Couldn't even pick up a carton of eggs. It was really, really challenging. And regenerative medicine, which we've talked about a little bit, truly was game changing for me. I've had some exacerbations over the time, but nothing that has been near as severe. And then my capacity to work, to sit, to do all the things I want to do, quality of life, play with my kids, has all been kind of restored. However, there are times where my back will start talking to me. And this has been one such time. And I used the Enso product, and we'd actually had it in clinic, and nobody was here to give me an injection or do anything for me. Everybody's closed down. So I was like, okay, what do? I don't want to take medications. So I put that in, I charged it, and I hoped the pads were a little bit older. So I was hoping that it would work. I put it on, and actually found that it helped tremendously. So and what was interesting, I was having a lot of hip pain bilaterally and low back pain as well, and kind of that radiating. When I put it on my hip, it actually felt pretty good. I could feel the tension relieved and the pain go down. But when I changed it and put it to where like the source of the pain was, that the nidus, which is that L4-5 disc, and move the device there, not only did I get much more profound relief locally in the low back, but the radiating pain got much, much better. I was able to then do some yoga, do some exercises, took a 4 or 5 mile hike. I wore it for several days in a row and was active, and it broke that pain cycle. Right? So I didn't have to take medications, didn't have to take, have any injections. And I was really surprised how well it has worked. And now I forgot it at home. Right? It's been doing really well. So that just intrigued me, especially in this time of COVID where we're really somewhat isolated. We can't do the procedures that we normally do. We can't see patients. I've now referred several patients to get this device. And when speaking to you, you guys make it tremendously accessible. So I thought it'd be wonderful to take and I'm starting to use Zoom more, so that, hey, let's take this opportunity to talk to you. I'm fascinated by the product. I want to know more, and I know our patients do. So thank you for spending the time and talking to us about it. So can you just kind of walk us through, like, how, I know you have a personal story as well, but how did you come to this type of medicine and treatment?
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Dr. Desai. That's, I'm glad it was helpful, first of all.
Thank you for making it and allowing me to get better.
The whole thing, it's not just me, but I understand. Thank you. Of course. This company started out of, somewhat of all of us that are talking, either interested in the Zoom call probably, or yourself, we have our own pain experiences. And that's where this started for me. I also had low back pain. It started actually with cervical pain following an injury at work. where I was working as an engineer at a medical device company, building like different types of devices, cardiac devices. We made simulators as well, implanted simulators. But this company, what I was doing was just some wrist work. I hurt something in my arm, my hand. It started traveling up to my neck, and just became this neck combined with the carpal tunnel type pain in my arms and my wrists. And then I had just different issues in the spine, and it kind of was just like this, I think, psychologically induced, as much as physically induced pain situation. It was just a combination of back and extremity pain for 2 years. The injections, drugs, went through all of that for about 1.5 to 2 years, was seeing pain physicians. Ultimately went to Stanford, switched to UCSF, just trying to find a solution. Pain is so complicated.
Sure.
And I just experienced that. And I don't have to repeat, the story. You guys all know the story, but I experienced what that was, the complexity of chronic pain, the claustrophobia, the emotions around that, feeling stuck and out of control. And then one day my dad came to me and he said, Shaun, I have this friend, he's a chiropractor, and he has this TENS device, and you should try it. He brought the box to me. It was like a Walkman with these 2 wires that came off. And I was like, I'm as a nerd, this is cool. I'm going to shock the pain away. As long as it's not a drug, I'm down. I'd taken enough Valium, Vicodin, and gabapentin at that point. So I put those 2 pads on my wrist first, because it was just, I couldn't write too well. I wanted to kind of start there. And I was in school, so I was studying. I put it on my wrist, and within like 10, 15 seconds, I jacked it up pretty fast, faster than I thought. But it was like, whoa, I just had this release of like, oh my God, that felt so good. What was that? Like this contrast from pain to pain being reduced. I had a really, I think, relatively positive experience with my TENS device. And what I did was I went and I said, what the hell is this? What's going on? Why isn't every physician showing this to me? What's the combination of like excitement and frustration? I went through so many doctors, no one even showed this to me. Then I went to like several of my friends and I said, hey, have you guys used this miracle machine called a TENS device? And then of those 6, 7, like a few said, yeah, I tried it. Didn't really work that well though for me. I didn't like it. And it didn't feel good. It felt weird actually. I was like, okay. And then one friend said, yeah, no, I really liked it. It helped me kind of, just manage the pain. And I was using it in chiropractic and I got one at home and, it helped me overall. And I was like, why is it 1 out of 6, or 2 out of 6, that we're having this experience? And why can't it be 5 out of 6 or 4 out of 6, that say that this really helped them? This is me as an engineer being really curious about what is going on. Why isn't this consistent for people? Why aren't you prescribing one to every patient and just having this miracle experience, And so that was where this started. And it was me and a couple colleagues where we started to look at how do you create a machine, a stimulator, similar to the TENS unit that isn't bulky with wires and, these issues, but also uses a lot of the science that I'd learned as I'm looking at these implanted devices at NeuroPace, at Abbott Labs, where we create these devices. The science is it's so effective. They show it works, more than 50% of the time, really well. And so I was like, why can't we take some ideas from that and then make this thing like an Apple-like device, like super cool and sleek. I love my iPhone. It was my best friend in that pain experience. I would learn everything, interact with people. It's hard to communicate, when you're in so much pain. So it's like a beautiful experience like an iPhone, but one that opens your life and makes you excited about living it and through pain relief. So that was the inspiration. That was about 6, 7 years ago. Me and my co-founder started working on this device that would ideally be, a slick, portable, cool, we're nerds, design freaks, device that could hopefully make a more effective treatment. In other words, more consistent treatment. So that's how this started.
Very cool. One of the points you talked about, and some of the patients have asked me, and I've wanted to know, what's the difference between, so you have the pad, it's sending an electrical, stimulus to the nervous system, and you have on one end like the kind of old-fashioned TENS units with the wires, and it's kind of clunky, and I've had that before and haven't had a fantastic experience just with that as well. It's okay, but this was much, much more profound. Versus then you have, we do spinal cord stimulation, right? Neuromodulation. And so where does this fit in with that, and how does this work in regards to those types of technologies?
Yeah, why is this different? Great question.
Yeah.
So what our device, what it does, it delivers a combination of high, so electrical pulses that have a combination of high and low frequency components. And what that means, it delivers pulses that have a combination of like 10 to 100 kilohertz, or 10 to 100,000 in terms of the frequency, or the amount of impulses per second that are delivered on one end, while also delivering a more traditional 0 to 200 hertz, like lower frequency pulse that you'd see from a TENS device. How this is it's comparable to some of the other high frequency implanted spinal cord stimulators in the market. There's a company called Nevro that started this about 5 or 6 years ago, kind of marketing this high frequency 10 kilohertz treatment. Now, they've figured out how to do that in an implant. What we've done is figure out a way to deliver that treatment across the skin in a way it can be comfortable, effective for patients. And that is what makes this device really unique, besides the fact that the treatment feels, I think you can talk to this, it feels different. It feels more like a shiatsu massage, it's more flexible, and it's small. You can exercise with it, you can work out with it, you can do things like go for a walk and a hike with it. So like the high frequency, what makes it different from this low frequency device is that basically the simple explanation of that is you have a TENS unit which delivers these lower frequency pulses that deliver what's called paresthesia, or distracting sensations, to mask pain. And it's kind of like you rubbing your knee, you're trying to distract the pain through this sensation, which can be very useful for pain relief. In some cases, as I mentioned, in my own experience, it helped me a lot. But what we do in addition to that is deliver this very high frequency component that we've seen in some studies that we ran, nerve ion channel studies, has an effect on the speed at which the nerve fires. It's almost like a nerve block-like effect, which can make it more effective, as we've shown in clinical trials working with UCSF and other physicians. So yeah.
That's super cool. If you were to turn off because you do get I like the sensation, right? It is a distraction. So if you have pain in that area or in the region, you get that kind of, the interesting thing with this is you turn up the volume, and either with the device locally or the phone, and I'm a nerd too, I'm a radiologist, right? I like tech, I like toys, and so the app is fantastic. It's really cool. And you can see kind of the energy and the stimulus that you're using. If you were to get rid of the low frequency, what would could you perceive the high frequency energy?
You can't. So so that's similar to these implant devices. It's paresthesia free at 10 kilohertz or higher. You can't really feel it. We've done that. We've removed the low frequency in the lab and just done experiments with that, and it does provide pain relief. We found that I think a part of the pain relief comes from that. Part of it comes from the sensation, the distraction. Yeah. And part of it comes the way we modulate the sensation back and forth to make it so you can't get used to that. A lot of TENS devices, you get used to it, and it becomes like a monotonous feeling, and it gets annoying. So I think making it change, and not just at one frequency on the low end, but just moving back and forth at different frequencies and getting a range of sensations. I think we found that while you can get this relief, let's say maybe half of it, I'm just making something up, off the higher frequency stuff alone, when you combine all these things together, you just get a more effective result. And so, and you get feedback, and it feels good if you have like only a low back. It feels like a massage, So it's nice to add all these things together. But yeah. And
so you had actually a tip for me, because when I'm wearing it, if we're exercising things, if the pad starts, it seems like this, but if the pad starts to come off, then you can get some sharper, like electric type sensation. Yes. So having that, the adherence is helpful. And then you had a tip for keeping the pad sticky.
Yes.
And that was.
So yeah, you want to apply a few drops of water if it becomes less sticky, and that'll make it last for a few weeks at least, hopefully, as you keep rehydrating it. But yeah, the pads, if they're starting to fall off, hopefully not very soon, it should be like within 1 or 2 weeks of use, you can get out of a pad using it regularly. You'd want to eventually replace them. And that's the challenge here is, it costs, unfortunately, that was the one thing I wanted to solve, was how to get rid of pads altogether, But, you'd have to then tape it on or strap it on you, and then have this silicone gel you'd apply to this rubber surface. And it was just really messy, and it didn't seem like a good experience. So
it's the gel that the conduction has to go through some medium. I'm assuming that's the gel.
Conductive material. Yeah. In this case, it's a sticky gel pad, like a water-based gel. It's called hydrogel. So, and that is the one thing that I would love to improve upon. And we have some ideas for devices that you don't require any pads or even to have it placed it near your body. You can just put it in your pocket,
Oh,
like an
wow.
face device. That is like the vision and the dream, and we're playing with that.
Cool.
But we haven't figured that out yet. So,
Okay. But you're working on it. That's exciting.
yeah. There's other devices that do stuff similar to that. Like there's for some patients, I mean, this usually doesn't work as well for our patients, but some patients when they if they use the device and don't get exactly, you know, I'd say 1 out of 3 times, you're not going to get an amazing result from Enso, we found. There's an Acti patch we often recommend to people. They can go on Amazon and get it for like 20, 30 bucks. But it's not consistently as effective, but it can be useful, you know, and that's also an RF-based device. Our vision is to develop a much more high-powered, like a clinical grade, a prescription grade version of the Acti patch, which you can view as kind of like an ICOT patch, you know, in terms of effectiveness, you know, and for some patients, but no drugs, no, you know, stickiness. You can use it over and over again, so it's still useful. Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, we work with in a few different companies that are doing wearable technologies that are helping with the germanium oxide infused materials that help with blood flow, and our patients love that as well. And it's it'd be interesting to see if there would be you know, a combination of this type of electrical activity to help, because I feel like this is very profound. And how, you kind of went on that path as far as how do you see this fitting in with you know, other types of treatments, and especially with the impact of coronavirus and the limitation of access and ability of patients. They, you know, we're going to start doing procedures soon as these things are lifted, but even then, until a vaccine is available, it's going to be a very slow process. So we're going to have 1 patient in at a time in a facility where we used to have maybe 7 or 8 at a time. Right? So the throughput's going to be dramatically reduced. And so the access for patients to come in, it's just not going to be as easy. So we're going to be needing these alternatives.
Sure. I think, yeah, I mean, you can correct me if I'm wrong, like injections or, you know, or these ablations, you know, these procedures, the in-person procedures, you just don't have the option to do them. It's maybe freely, you know, it's consistently.
Yeah.
And so that's been a problem for a lot of the partners that we work with, and especially for the patients that are trying to get, you know, away from drugs, right? And well, no one wants to be cut open or get surgery or, you know, even get an injection. It's like sometimes it's all you got. And so I think for us, what we've noticed is, especially like as people are getting stressed, pain is going up, you know, a lot of the people that we work with, like yourself, they see Enso as a way to just basically avoid escalating to drugs. And I guess if you think about it in general, outside of coronavirus, you're looking at it as a way to, not as a permanent requirement. Like, I don't want you to be buying pads for me forever. That's not my goal. You know, like my goal is to use this as a bridge, like you experienced, you know, is I'm seizing up, or I've got an issue, I twisted something wrong, you know, or I've had this for years and years and years. You know, average in our studies, people had pain for 14 years, you know, before they use the device. And what we found is you use it consistently for the first 1 to 2 months, every day, every other day, for a few hours a day, that the muscles seems to happen is the muscles start to relax. Like, you get control of your situation if the device does work for you, and it allows you to kind of just, like I did with my TENS device, using it for like a month or 2, just get my confidence back, get my control back, get a sense of hope in my life that I'm not going to have to think about my back all day long, my neck, my shoulder, whatever it is that you're using the device, and to use it as a way to just get control and break that cycle of pain that is so debilitating.
Can you use this on like peripheral neuropathies and any pain syndrome? And we talk about, you know, obviously it's personal. I have my most consistent issue with my back, but we have a lot of patients that we're treating, you know, even rotator cuff tears or, you know, ulnar neuritis. You talked about median nerve issues or carpal tunnel syndrome, or, you know, we have, you know, patients with scapular dysfunctions and pain. This can be used anywhere, right? There's no limitation of its application.
You can use it, yeah, in most parts of the body. You don't want to put it in your throat, on your forehead. But yeah, for treating like joint issues, you know, hand pain, you know, even extremities, knee, hip, back, shoulder, neck are the common ones. But we have some people that use it for migraines, you know, and we don't say, or can't promise you it's going to work for anything. You know, I'm not going to promise you anything here.
But if you think the technology, though, if it's neuropathic driven pain, they should have it, at least could be tried. And that's where, I'm talking to you, really excited about, how passionate you are about the product and helping patients. And then also, the trial period that you have with the machine. I mean, that's it's not for commercial insurance, not covered at this point, correct? And so there is a cost to it, but the way that you are helping make it accessible is fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about that process?
No, sure. So basically where that comes from is a free trial we offer. It's a 2 to 3 week trial. Everyone can access the device. They can use it first and then decide if they want to purchase it. And the cost is $250 if they decide they want to purchase it. Now, for us, like where that came from is I slid my credit card on so many different things, like this wristband for your carpal tunnel pain, done, $40, gone, Hey, Shaun, there's this other device, $300, gone. Massage pair on like 2 years financing. I'm so desperate right now. $4,000 gone. I spent $15,000 on my credit card when I didn't have it. I was a student getting into it for my first job at that point. So it's like I didn't have the money, but I did it because I was so desperate, and I got burned 90% of the time.
Yep.
So for us, it's really important not to do that to patients, to make sure that it's something that works for you, is useful, before you decide you want to buy it. And that's where the free trial comes in. And you get the pads that you need, for the 2 to 3 weeks. You get the device, its instructions on how to use it for these different body parts. And we work with you through our email support line just to make sure you know how to use it. If you need a smartphone, you don't have a smartphone, we'll ship you a smartphone. And that costs like $45 after the trial if you want to keep it. We find these really cheap smartphones. So even if you don't have a smartphone, we have a lot of patients, 80, 90, even almost 95, as a patient we treated recently, that don't have more than a flip phone. So we try to make it very accessible. And if the cost is a problem, also you're like, I can't afford $250, come talk to us and we'll work with you on that. Whether it's breaking the payments up or working with you on an individual level to say, hey, this is what you can't afford. We try to be very flexible there. Because again, the mission is to get these devices out there, cover our costs. We don't want to, we don't keep the lights on.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we are covered in workers' comp, for work comp patients. And so that allows us to kind of, build a business there more consistently with insurers while we do this. And what we ask for in exchange of the $250 price point is just help us build the data. This is almost like a real world study. We don't ask a lot of questions and it's voluntary, but just help us get feedback around how the device worked for you, how it's impacted your pain, so that we can just build on the.
Is that done through the app, or how do you do that data collection?
Through the app, and then through email, we'll follow up with you guys. There's a form that you fill out when you sign up for the trial. And so that allows us to justify, getting the cost, and you're helping us gather data to make this mission happen on a broader scale. And we understand, especially if you're already spending on other treatments, $250 is not a little bit of money,
Yeah. Absolutely. Compared to the costs of, a lot of the things, I think that's a tremendous value. I've used it. I like it. And so I think that's an absolutely tremendous value for what you're providing. So kudos to you and the company. I'm going to post this for our patients because there's been a lot of questions, and also for the broader community through our Interventional Orthobiologics Foundation.
Sure.
I'd love to link this and have folks out there in the community, especially those in industry and that are interested in working with Shaun and ourselves on the mission of helping patients in pain and utilizing solutions that are smart, efficient, affordable. I think this fits all the categories and could really help. Shaun and I have been talking just a little bit about, doing a small cohort study. I'm passionate about regenerative medicine for all those same reasons. We'd like to fix something. I don't want to see people keep coming back, rotating door, if possible. If there's a treatment for them, get the diagnosis, treat them, and get them back to their lives. This might be a really nice adjunct because we, with some of our procedures, we do cause pain as well. And that initial discomfort. This would be a wonderful adjunct. And if, healing is not linear, that would be nice if it was from point A to point B, but there are times when it's up and down, and this could be a nice adjunct without having to take pharmaceuticals. In some of the studies, NSAIDs have actually been shown to inhibit regenerative medicine therapies. So we're pulling somebody off of their NSAID and their baseline and changing that so they're in even increased pain while this is healing. So this would be a fantastic adjunct.
It's very smart of you to think about the science, physiology that way, and like, just not just the symptoms. And I'm excited to help you with that, if I can, and
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Cool.
Last thing I'd say is just, if anyone is interested in contacting us to get a free trial with any questions, anything they have, our email line, they can reach us at support, SUPPORT at ENSORelief.com, ENSORelief.com. And thank you. I just want to make sure they have access to
Yeah, no, I don't know exactly how to do it, but I'm going to try to put some, graphics so they can connect with you. And so we'll definitely, have a team that does that. And so we'll get it to our creative team and have that, have this posted.
Okay. Thank
but
you.
I just really appreciate taking your time on Friday afternoon to talk to us, and I'm really excited to get back to it. Do you have, by any chance, near you a device or a pad?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry. Great point. I should have pulled that up a while ago. So yeah, this is the device itself. So it's a little unit. It's about 9 millimeters thick, about the size of a poker chip. And then what you do is you take this unit, which by itself is kind of, you're not going to eat it. It fits into a pad.
It's like a chiclet. Yeah.
Yeah. So it fits into a pad, like magnetically. And then this is the one for back pain. So then you just pull it right back off. And this is the one for like the smaller joint areas. So knee pain, neck, smaller joints.
Yeah. And what Shaun's showing is that there's a plastic backing that it's stuck to, and then you just peel it off that.
That's right.
And then you can, like adhesive, and then you can stick that on wherever. I don't have that. We're going to get some of those.
I'll get you.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I'd like that. We have the back ones.
It's a sticky gel. It doesn't pull hair or anything like that. It's really nice, as you may know already.
Yeah. I'm an Indian background, kind of a teddy bear. That's what people call me. Yeah. So, so super cool device. The app is fantastic. EnsoRelief.com is the ENSORelief.com. And go to the website. They have some nice videos and discussion. And then I think the trial is there as well. And if we can get our technical team to put up somewhere here or maybe up here, or on Shaun's side, the website and then the phone number for connection. But I think it's a fantastic product, and we're going to get this out to our patients as well. Okay, so again, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll connect and keep in touch.
I'll talk to you later, Dr. Desai. Thank you for the time. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.